Let's break the mold, start believing, and stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Welcome to Wild on 7, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
All right, welcome back. This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast, presented by Pilot Games. As always, special shout out to the sponsors, supporters of the show: Aquarius Home Services, Jimmy's Salad Dressing and Dips, of course, Duke Cannon, and the interview segment. We've got a great guest here this afternoon. Kinger, hey, don't look now, my man. The Wild are one of the hottest teams in the NHL. They've been finding ways to win games. And now they all haven't been pretty, but they haven't need to be, because they're just accumulating wins right now. And 38 points, that puts them third in the Central. And when we got off to a slow start and a lot of question marks, all of a sudden it kind of feels like it's been a grind. But at the same time, you look back, it's kind of been a successful run up until Christmas here.
We win hockey games. I think the whole thing's clouded by the group of death start to the season with Colorado and the Rangers and whoever the hell else that got us with the blown tire at the start of the season. And we've been digging out of that all year. And I think it changed the complexion. Our guest, Billy Guerin, even today even alludes to that when you don't get out of the gates strong, you kind of spend a considerable amount of time going through that. On the bright side with this team, I think really Marc-Andre Fleury and some others just said, tourniquet, enough. After that crazy LA game, it was like, we're done with whatever the hell that was, and we're going to get back to playing wild hockey. And if you were to take those first 4 games out, we've basically been on a heater the entire season.
Yeah.
It's felt different,
right? Which
is okay. Yeah. But this is a very good hockey team playing very good hockey right now.
So what I think of this season too, and in general, you look back at your career, my career, and it's really defined by moments. Like, you've played forever, and there's just moments that kind of define like your whole being and your whole time in the NHL. I think seasons are similar in that sense. And all of a sudden, the Wild, where they were lacking those moments for the first little Wild.
Man, we've had a lot of them now, haven't we?
But I think it started, and all of a sudden they're accumulating. Yep. And the moments are starting to show up and more frequently. And it's Goligoski's OT winner. It's Ryan Reaves just trucking Hronek.
Ryan Reaves literally, you can take of the 82 game schedule, if you're the GM like Guerin, you can say that Detroit game was Ryan Reaves' game. Mm-hmm. He just X'd that one out and said, I got you, which is awesome. Zuccarello with the hat trick.
Yeah.
This whole peanut butter and jelly thing happening with Kirill. Shirt tarps off interviews. All right, we're starting to get loose, and we're starting to have
and it's fun. Coming back.
It's coming back.
Like, Middleton, we asked Middleton to be on the podcast, and he was nervous. But now all of a sudden, it's like he's back. It's not just a fanny pack; it's fannies out.
It would be great if he did the pod in just his jock, because I think with the table, I don't even think you would see anything.
Would it be okay?
I'm down to do that if he wants.
Just a heart rate monitor.
Yeah, heart rate monitor.
The image burned into me now is Jake Middleton with a heart rate monitor on, socks, and
as chaps, I think is what they refer to them. Not in that exact lange, but
they're having fun, man. They're having fun.
Oh, yeah. We got Santa Claus and Elf with Reaves and Kirill. As you know, which Guerin will get into how that all went down. But yeah, it is a fun time to be a Wild fan. I got out to the game against Detroit, and it was just to be in it and just mixing with the people, and it was so fun. And I will say, I'm interested on your take on this. This in Minnesota around the holidays, there's always a game that's like the ticket, right? And a lot of times it was Detroit.
Like the hot ticket?
It was Detroit on New Year's Eve forever, right? There would be like this, all the hockey people are going to this Wild game. This Dallas game, 12/29, for me is like, it's going to be bananas, right? The team will have not been in town for 10 days prior, and they're not going to be in town for 5 days after. It's like that thing is just a giant pimple waiting to be popped in downtown St. Paul. I'm curious, are you working that game? Are you going to go to that game? I think that's a pretty intriguing event.
Well, I think if you even look at what happened the last time these two teams played, it was in Dallas.
Yeah.
And the Wild were in a tight turnaround and it kicked off a long road trip. But, they came back down 4 in the third period. I think it was 5-1, and all of a sudden, boom, 5-2, and then quick order. It's oh my goodness, this is 5-5, and the Wild ended up pulling it out, which a huge thing. I think we talk about moments. I think that's an understated one.
Yep.
That could have turned things in a real big hurry in a negative way. Like, you have a 4-goal lead. When you win that game, you can skate away in OT, shootout, however you have to win it. You take 2 points in that one, and you go back to the locker room, and you just take a breath. You're like, whew, thank goodness.
It doesn't matter. What do they say? It's not how, it's how many.
Yeah, I've never. I heard this on the radio today. I've never seen a win I didn't like.
Yeah.
So you're thankful. But had that gone the other direction, had they not won that game, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, like things are reeling. Now you have like a focal point of, hey, this is what we have to build on. This is a problem. We have to fix it. Instead, that's just kind of swept under the rug and go on, and the Wild have continued to play good hockey and accumulate points, right? But that Dallas game and winning that one was huge, an understated moment. Now, those guys coming back to town, I think that they have the attention of the Wild. I think if you're looking at the West now, and the West has been just completely flipped on its head. Like, it's bizarre. Like Colorado is in a wild card spot. I think it just looks differently than anybody thought it would. St. Louis is struggling. Doesn't look like they're even able to figure it out. Winnipeg all of a sudden, and Dallas are the teams that are leading the Central. It's like, what the heck? But Dallas, after that game, I think got the attention of the Wild. So that one, I think, there's no doubt.
There's a lot there, right? You got Suter, this Robertson Kirill thing. I know it's not Sid Ovey, but there is some sort of connection between those two high impact young players. The good goalie in net for Dallas as well. It seems like a fun one. You're going to go on a crazy West Coast trip. We got some weather coming into Minnesota.
Yeah, this
is when you. I did like that Guerin said, technically, as running hockey, he could put you down in Iowa as the analyst. He has the power to change your life in that way. I didn't realize that. So you got to stay on the good side of Billy G.
Yeah, Billy. I don't know that there needs to be a paper transaction to get that done. You can just say, be gone with you.
Hey,
to
you're doing
send
a good
players
job.
down, I think you need, legit, someone needs to file paperwork. He could just be like, hey, Ryan, see ya.
What's this road trip look
I don't
like?
mind Des Moines. It's just quick. You fly out today. I've complained about the Wild schedule because I do think it really was tough. And then the Wild started to find their game, that 7-game homestand, got comfortable. Like, the season caught up with them. I think they hit the ground absolutely running, and they just felt like they were behind the 8 ball. And then that 7-game homestand, they started to feel like, okay, I'm catching up now. When I take a stride, I'm moving forward. And but now, just right before the holidays, it's another tough one because it's you fly out to the West Coast back to back. You go into Anaheim, and then this is just me complaining now, but in Anaheim, the closest airport is the John Wayne Airport, and that has a curfew at 10:30. You can't get there in time, so now you have to drive all the way to LAX, take off LAX, curfew in San Jose, so you have to fly into Oakland, then drive, play that night 7:30 game, then they'll board because it's mandatory day off the following day. We'll get back into Minneapolis at 6 o'clock in the morning. On
what day? Friday. So
with 10 inches of snow on your car, freezing cold,
the
minus
23rd.
12. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that if you can't tell. But
so we go Anaheim the first night. The baby boy Zegras, a team that's been not good and consistently not good all year. And then San Jose, who beat us and totally screwed up my parlay in Vegas when I was out there in my hotel robe. So I would like to get some redemption on the Sharks and Mr. Carlson, who apparently has decided to be a world-class defenseman again.
Well, so let's talk about that Carlson thing once.
It's insane.
Well, what I think it is it goes to show you how important the locker room is. And this is a great example because I think Carlson is an alpha. And in San Jose, with the other big names there, he couldn't be the alpha. He was playing second fiddle to a guy like Burns and whether it was Pavelski, guys that have had success there. And he's like a leader, needs to be the guy. to be good on the ice. Without it, he just wasn't as good. Now, all of a sudden, Burns is gone, Pavelski's gone. That team, it's not up for grabs, but it's a different blue line. And it looks like he can just kind of take it and run with it and play his game and do his own thing. And the coaching change and management change, there's a lot that goes into it. But all of a sudden, he's back to being an alpha. And his play on the ice is that of an alpha again. Everything's running through me. I'm feeling good. We're
crazy points.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. So I think that helps illustrate what can happen when a guy is feeling good off the ice in terms of like the social pecking order in the locker room, and when people and I think this gets tossed around a lot where they say like the room is good, or there's trouble in the room. What does that mean? What does that look like? I think that kind of puts it on paper like, hey, this is what happens when you have a guy that is comfortable in the room. He can play that well, and if he's not comfortable, like that's solely the difference, kind of, right? It's just he wasn't comfortable in that spot, didn't feel himself, and couldn't play as well. But yeah, I think the Wild have done, curtailing on that, they've done a great job against other teams' best players, and they've had to do that. I think this last stretch, if you look, it was Chicago, Detroit, Ottawa, Anaheim, San Jose. They really needed to make a run. Yep. Those are all teams that they had to beat.
And they just banked it. They banked it all. And they got another opportunity here for 4 points.
Well, they have to beat
Anaheim, San Jose. It's like, man, you could really be feeling like you're on the nice list on the holiday break.
And I think
if you bank those 4 points and just keep going up the standings.
If you're the coaching staff, you look at this and you almost sell out and say, all right, what do we got to do? Because 4 points, then we can finally take our breath and say, okay, that was a good first third of the season. We're
almost getting to half.
Yeah, we're getting close to it. But right there, but we can't let these 4 points slip away. Those are 4 points that we should get. I know it's on the road, and I know it's going to be tough, and it's a little different, but get your head out of the stocking, out from underneath the tree. Christmas is coming, but you've got 4 points to win and then go enjoy it. I think that's the challenge for the club right now.
Because that's been the tale of the season, too. It's like because of our start, we were that water skier underwater, still holding onto the rope, and we're just cresting now where we're starting to get, I don't know if breathing room is the right word, but you're just kind of not living and dying with each game, right? Like let's get a nest egg here in the standings and relax a little bit. What are you doing for the holidays?
The first thing I'm going to do is
take a tall glass of delicious water.
Well, it's funny, like we're starting to hit the same wavelength now, because what I was actually going to do is
work on your rink.
I like old fashions, the rink too, but I like old fashions, holiday drink, a nice sipper, but I like good ice, and I have those molds that you pour the water into, you put them into the freezer, and it fits
makes
perfectly
the good
into
ice.
your glass. Yeah, perfectly into your glass.
I thought you drank whiskey's neat, is what I heard.
With ice. So I'm gonna first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have some nice filtered water, reverse osmosis in my molds, so I can have a nice old fashioned.
Is the Aquarius water clear? Like when you pull out the orb or the big square for your cocktail, is it like crystal clear water?
It is, and it's actually
cool.
It's actually super cool too, because you put it in, you pour the whiskey over, and then it has like shooting stars of like air in there a little bit, so it looks
really.
Great. I'm gonna take a picture.
I'd like to come over sometime.
Yeah, but that's the Kinetico K5 system underneath the sink, reverse osmosis. Love it. That's the only water we drink in the house. We've got the water softener. I don't know. I was getting a haircut the other day, and the barber said, "You've got the softest hair I've ever felt." And he says, "What shampoo do you use?" I said, "Whatever's the cheapest." My wife brings it home.
Are you sure you're at the barber?
I said, "That's the softened water." I'm not kidding you. The barber was like, "You have the nicest feeling hair I've ever felt. What do you do at home?" I said, "It's the water softener."
You swear the guy said that?
Yes, and my daughter was there. She'll vet it. The guy goes, "This is the nicest hair I've ever felt."
Wow.
That's an endorsement.
Is the K5 system named after Jake Middleton?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But that's Aquarius Home Services, earning the right to be recommended. Dude, I'll recommend them if a barber tells me that I've got the nicest hair he's ever felt. Boom, that's it. It's endorsed. Good for him.
I'm going to go to that same
Aquarius
barber.
Home Services. And
see if he says the same thing to me. On the flip side, over my holiday break, I'm going to be serving sensible snacks. I'm going to get out some food trays you can tell I do this a lot because I call them food trays. That's when you know someone does a lot of entertaining. So I'll have some vegetables, some small bowls. I'll have a ranch, a spinach, and a dill dip. I'm probably going to hold the holy smokes back, for myself, maybe a little sandwich, maybe an outdoor burger where you can't tell the difference between seeing your own breath and the smoke from the grill. Jimmy's is a third-generation Minnesota company. Crazy Grandpa came up with the recipes, and now it's been passed through the dad. And these two kids are like the property brothers of dressings and dips, these two stud sons that run it now. Minnesota company, pick them up at Cub or Hy-Vee. That's Jimmy's Salad Dressings and Dips. So don't you be messing with my dressing. I think that's what they want me to say.
Nailed it. So I do have to ask, though, because you kind of gave yourself a pat on the back and say you entertain a lot.
No.
But you've been displaced for quite some time.
I've been a vagabond gypsy waiting for a house to be built.
Where are you staying now?
Tonight I'll be at the Country Inn in White Bear Lake, attached to Rudy's Red Eye Grill.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That'll be safe.
So if any of you guys
nothing wrong, nothing could go wrong there.
I thought maybe you'd be living with mom and dad, and maybe just back to the old childhood bedroom, or maybe on the couch.
I did spend 2 months there.
2 months?
6 weeks, maybe. Yeah, uneventful.
Well, I tell you what, if the Country Inn doesn't work out, I've got a nice place for you. And,
yep.
And
be careful what you wish for.
Plenty of sensible snacks.
I'd like to spend some time with carts. We can. You got that basement with all the pictures of yourself. We could go down there and do the cocktails and stuff.
I like that.
Look through your old sticks.
I like that. So before we throw it to the Bill Guerin interview, I've got a question for you because I'm kind of curious. And we talked to Billy about Kirill. Where did the Mohawk go?
The turn, you mean? Yeah. Him skating that way?
Yeah.
You think he's not skating that way anymore?
I mean, that was like his staple. Like if it was Alex Ovechkin, he's skating the same. It's just that
he's doing less
specific
of it.
Play, Alex Ovechkin.
You know that Guerin corrected me that he said it's not called a Mohawk, and he kind of got upset with me.
What did he call it?
He says it's a 10-2.
That's what I call it, the 10-2.
And he says that's not a Mohawk turn, but I think it is. Because the point is your feet are essentially like this, like a straight line Mohawk is what I always thought.
Well, but that's where I think the 10-2 comes from. Your feet are pointing at 10-2 on your steering wheel because it's not like 9-3.
I didn't notice that he hasn't been doing. It's funny.
That's a good debate because I called it the 10-2 and everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And then somebody's like, "They called it the Mohawk turn."
Yeah, there was a period where a lot of the guys on the team were doing it last year.
Yeah, well, so
like Fiala started doing it. Boldy can do it.
Kirill was circling the wagon, and that's when he would start to wind it up. And there's these magical shifts where he'd circle the net and then the whole zone like 3 times, and then all of a sudden tic-tac-toe back of the net. And we're like, oh my goodness, it was like his signature play. Like Ovechkin with the one-timer on the power play. That's what I'm saying. Where did it go?
More efficient.
Yeah, that's development. He's learned. I think like that's a lot of effort for a play, and I don't have to do all that to be successful. And he was a point per game guy when he was circling the wagons. Now he's like a 1.5 per game kind of guy. Like I'd say he's figured it out, right? I think he still makes those moves on his edges, but I'm hoping at least once this year he brings back that, circles the whole zone, 2-10, Mohawk, whatever you want to call it.
Could you do that when you played?
No, my hips don't do that.
It would be so cool.
Shakira, my hips don't lie. They
really?
cannot do
that. That's the Kung Fu battle grip.
Yeah.
You got to be able to, you got to have the rubber band in the waist to be able to open up like that. I can't even, when I put my socks on, I lift one leg up and set it down on the other leg. So I think when you do that, you definitely can't do a Mohawk or a 10-2 for that matter.
The last thing that caught my attention, so Zuki had his hat trick, and then there was another goal. Sam Steele assisted on it. This was the Ottawa game, I think, and he goes to give a high five. And he just like dismisses Sam Steele, and Sam Steele gives him the knuckles, and then just like gets demolished, like goes down, falls down hard. It's like left there in a pile behind the play by himself, and then everybody else is celebrating off on their own. Again, I think that just...
Is that a Boogergate moment? Do we have to look? Is that Zapruder footage? We should look at it.
We're going to have to look it up because I was wondering. It actually...
So he scores and they're celebrating and Sam...
Yeah. They go to knuckle And then Sam Steele does like a flyby, and it's almost like it's similar to the thought to where when Marcus hit me in the lips and it disconnected my wires.
So he misses the knuckles.
No, they do knuckles, and then it just like shuts Steele's body down, and he just falls right there. But Zuki doesn't know and continues.
And
skating.
The pile leaves him there.
He just left.
Oh, we got to find that footage. That whether it's Zuki we're talking to or Sam, we got to bring that up. Should we get into the big boy interview here, the Duke Cannon production? With
Billy Guerin's really started the show. This guy's he's so candid. He gives us, some good stuff, man. I really appreciate having him. But we get a lot of the good stuff before we say record. Like he sits down. He's just an entertaining dude. So we're not going to cut any of that stuff out. Rice on Ice, producer. We'll just kick off the interview organically here, but we'll toss to it now. So we'll be back.
Here's Billy Guerin.
Well, I tell you what, this is perfect. Hopefully we're recording because Duke Cannon sponsors the guest segment, and there is plenty of let's get it.
These are stocking stuffers here, Billy.
Let's get you bloody knuckle cream.
Bloody knuckle, yeah. Hey, is that for?
Have you been beating anybody up lately? But there's hair stuff. I mean, whatever you need.
Their biggest thing right now is these soaps. These
the beer,
big ass bricks of soap.
Yeah,
and these ones really are popular. Seasonal now, so they're like, they'll smell like a stolen.
You know what I just saw in the. It was the
body wash.
I didn't even know they made it. No, it's a like a solid cologne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it took me. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Looks like it's in an Altoids can.
Yeah.
And then it's just like
I'm not a cologne guy
yet.
Hey, look, back in the late '80s, little Drakkar.
I wear Abercrombie
Viper Room.
Drakkar Noir.
Yes, Drakkar Noir.
It was only that and Polo with the green bottle.
Exactly.
Polo was a blue bottle.
Hey,
green.
Did you do Girbauds and
Girbauds were the best.
And Timberlands?
Yes.
No, it was Doc Martens.
No.
You guys are dating yourself.
No, we're
Timberlands. We didn't because
Gen X.
Honestly,
baby.
I remember
Girbauds were so cool.
Girbauds were the best because they had the white tag right on the zipper, and oh god, those were the best.
That was crisscross. Remember crisscross?
Yeah, they wore them.
Daddy Mac can make you want to jump.
So
did they wear? No, they didn't wear Girbauds.
Probably backwards, so you wouldn't know because the label wouldn't be there. Girbaud was every color too. Like you could get.
They brought color
army
to jeans.
Green. They weren't jeans; they were like khakis. They also made jeans, but the khakis were the stuff, man.
No, the jeans were the stuff.
Oh, you didn't do khakis?
No.
Well, I was from Edina.
Corduroys.
Yeah.
Edina's khakis.
Yeah.
More business.
You know what I wore? All through middle school and high school.
What?
White Bucks.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, for Dexter. Dexter White Bucks.
Like Dexter the murderer?
No, Dexter's got to be the brand, right?
Dexter's the brand. They're from.
I thought the guy from Showtime wore Bucks.
What do you guys? No, you guys are wearing. They're like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just look at my white. They're like white.
I know what you're talking about. It has like a salmon-colored sole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have a pair of those actually. They're like you were dressed for the Kentucky Derby every day as a kid, basically.
Well, I went to a private school, so I had to wear coat and tie every day.
Seersucker?
No. Okay. Blue blazer every day for 6 years.
That's solid.
Yeah, but then you know what? The White Bucks were so comfortable and so stylish that you just wear them with your Girbauds too.
Well, why wouldn't you?
With the tight tuck on the bottom.
I think Girbaud could come back. Like I would be down to do that all over again.
Did you ever have shoulder injuries when you played?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have thought no.
Why?
Because like the sport coats for me, they actually hold your shoulders like in the right spot. Because otherwise I'm like forward like this the whole time. So 6 years in it would have been nice. I've been able to say
it gave me great posture.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the hanger in there. Should we start this thing properly? Hopefully
this is started probably. This is a soft intro. In case you guys don't know that voice, this is General Manager Bill Guerin. He's with us here today. So thanks for taking time out of your busy day, Billy. This is presented by Duke Cannon. Obviously, whenever we have a guest, it's Duke Cannon. Billy had a couple of flyaways if you heard that off the start. And now he's got the hair all dialed, the solid cologne, whatever you guys need. Duke Cannon has it. Kinger, take it away, my man.
All right, we're with. You want me to do Duke Cannon or just start it?
Let's just rip it.
Let's go. Let's get into Billy G. I am going to start with one of my wild questions. So we've interviewed you 3 times, and every time you come, I get nervous and I don't ask a lot of the things that are on my list. So according to Wikipedia, that's how you start every good interview question, by the way. I learned that from 60 Minutes. According to Wikipedia, your name is William Robert Guerin. Does anyone call you Billy Bob? Do you have any Billy
Okay.
Bob? Do you have any Billy Bob tendencies? Like, do you have overalls?
I don't. And it's funny because, yeah, I mean,
You're a Billy Bob.
I am Billy Bob. And I
It's just out there. It's just
I know,
it's a fact.
but I talked to my mom about it one time. And I'm like, Mom, what the hell? Like, so the funny thing is, so my dad's name was William Victor.
Okay.
Right?
Billy Vic.
Yep. But my grandfather on my mom's side, his first name was Victor. So I just thought it would be natural to name me William Victor, just like my dad, and kind of in line with my grandfather too.
Do you think she was asleep at the wheel on the whole Billy Bob thing?
No, there was honestly, I asked her and she just said, there was like a family friend or somebody like that really helped them out when they were younger, something like that they gave me my middle name after. I'm like, well, did you not think about what this could have done to me?
Well, this explains.
I'll tell you what. I'll take Billy Bob over a lot of names that are going on out there. People are getting way out of line. There's some crazy names. Just leave it at that.
It's getting unique.
Yeah, because there's a way to turn Billy Bob and make it positive, almost like Bubba. Like you got to pick up and you're a dude, there's a lot of softer names out there.
So did you take a lot of pride in naming your own children then after all this? Like all of a sudden you're like, okay, we got to get this right. There's a lot of pressure naming the kids.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you got to think it. And some people don't.
Do you think
clearly,
honestly,
or they overthink it?
Yeah.
Did having a son named Liam impact your decision to draft someone named Liam?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't listen to Judd on that one.
Let me mark that.
I gotta make sure. I know you like this other guy, but this kid's name's Liam.
Got the same
There's
name
something
as my
about
son,
him.
so.
Something about him I like.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Well, let's start with we haven't talked to you since the season got rolling, and it was funny. Last summer when Karts and I were doing this, we were talking about the first 4 games. It was like the World Cup group of death, right? You had Rangers, Colorado. You had this weird start to the season. And ironically, we think if you just lop off those first 3 or 4 games, we've basically been on a heater all season, but we had this constant feeling of like treading water at the start of the season. How has it gone for you 31 games in? Like, what's your feeling? What's the mood of the nation with Billy G?
Well, you're kind of right, but I think it shows how important the beginning of the season is. And we were lucky. We got lucky that it was 4 games, because you see some teams where it was 8, 9, 10, and they're still trying to recover, and you don't know if they will. So we were fortunate in that situation. How do I feel now? I mean, look at our team's playing much better. We're playing well, but to me, it's just not. The way the league is right now, you have to be on every night. If you're not on every night, there's a chance that you're going to lose. And look, you can't take a break and let the floor drop out from under you. Mm-hmm. So although it's been going very well lately, we have to keep our foot on the gas. It's still just not. I mean, you're never safe. You're never safe in this league. So sorry, I don't know if that was me.
You're a big deal.
But we just, you can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We just got to keep going.
30 games is I think it's a big enough sample size for you to know like what the club is and to assess kind of what you think they are and where you think they're going. Yeah. The first 4 games, my assessment of it is that a lot of the thought process was, how are we going to backfill some offense that was gone, and guys were playing games that weren't their own, and it looked a lot different, and guys kind of fell on their face, and then it was a reset a little bit, and now the team's kind of finding itself the last 10, 15 games. What do you like about what you see in the game right now in terms of how they're playing?
Yeah, first of all, I think you're right on. Is that we did not reestablish our identity early on as individuals and as a team, and I take some blame for that. I expected us to pick up right where we left off too, and guys to have the same exact years that they had. Now you've raised expectation, guys. Like, now we have to hit a certain bar rather than just worrying about the process of getting there, which I think allowed us to be successful last year. God, what was the second half of your question?
Well, so the team, they figured out what they are.
Yeah.
I think last year it was magical, and John will follow this up too, because he has a question based on last year. But it was magical, come from behind victories. You could score, and the scoring is, I think it's coming for the club, and it's been getting better and more consistent. But I think the template of how the team's going to win, it looks a little different.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? It definitely is. And I've seen some games where we've played very, very well in tight games. And then I saw, the last game against Ottawa, which I did not love. You know what? We came out, we played really well for 40 minutes. And then, we got a 3-0 lead, and we start screwing around. And next thing you know, they have a legit chance to win that game. And to me, if we want to get better, if we want to advance, those are the things that can't happen. And look, I'm not foolish enough to say they can never happen. It probably will happen at some point in time. But on a regular basis, we cannot let teams back in when we have a 2-0, 3-0 lead. It cannot happen if you want to get better.
Is that one of the warts? I mean, you could go back to the Dallas game, and Dallas can score goals and put the puck in the net, and you have a 4-goal lead in the third period, and boom, 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 you can feel it coming. Like, what is the team missing to stop that? I think the leadership group is there. Like, what is needed in that situation? Just be like, okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's play.
Yeah. So discipline, self-discipline. We're good, but we need to be better. You get a team like Dallas down, you're winning 5-1. And I know they're good. I respect their team. They've got some great young players, but we do too. And we need to be better in situations like that. And it's all, if we want to start gearing up and preparing to be a better playoff team, that's when it has to happen now.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue. So one of the things I think the fan base has been struggling with is they're always comparing things to last year, right? And it's really a different season. And we've gotten to the point where, if last year we have all these regular season accolades and these career bests for guys, but you end up getting banged up by St. Louis and it's over, we don't really care anymore about last year. We just threw it away. And what we like about this season, Moose was in here, and he said when you guys were playing Carolina, they were sitting on the bench and they were just watching the way Carolina was playing, and it was a switch that went off for him where he's like, they're basically doing to us what we should be doing to other teams. And for him, at least, there was a switch. So do you feel that in a way, the adversity, the 2 steps forward, 1 step back this season, in some ways is almost like getting you in playoff mode earlier than even last year's kind of la-la land?
Yeah, I do. And, like you said, last year was like this magical year, and we're winning, coming from behind and pulling the goalie and scoring all the time. That's not real. That's one freak year where all that stuff kind of fell in a line, and it just, you can't sustain that. You can't play that way and expect success. We have to be more solid. And I agree with Moose. It's like, you're sitting there and we're watching Carolina. Yeah, that switch better go off, and it better go off sooner, or else you're going to get the doors blown off us. But we have that ability. the way we play, the as a team, the guys as individuals, we have the ability to swarm teams, to grind them down, and that's part of our identity, and we have to be comfortable with that. And when we do that, we can beat anybody. And I've said it before, if we don't play that way, anybody can beat us.
So if I was going to say the team, to me, if it has a wart as of late, it's that they've been playing good hockey, but they've been playing somewhat to the competition. They're looking at the board and they see, maybe Detroit's out or Larkin's out or Anaheim comes to town. And instead of putting the pedal to the metal and just flooring this team and having like a good 4-1 kind of solid game win, it's like stressful. It's challenging a little bit. And they've done a good job, I think, beating the teams that they should beat.
Yes.
And then also finding a way to compete and beat the teams where it's an even playing field, right?
Yeah.
The good competitive teams, but they're allowing some of these lower end teams to just survive, hang around. And maybe Ottawa's one of them, maybe Detroit's one of them. But what's your assessment there?
Yeah, I agree with you. And you remember, I remember, and when you're playing one of these perceived weaker teams, it's just human nature,
right?
That you're gonna maybe not be as dialed in or whatever, and that it's hard. Those games are harder to play. It's easy to get up for one of the top teams, and then you've got one of the bottom teams to come in, and they still have good players. They still have guys they're National Hockey League players, some of them stars. And if we're not at our best, this is how even the league is now. They'll beat you. They'll beat you. And it's a hard thing. I do agree with you. We have done a good job of beating the teams that we're supposed to beat. So I do give the guys credit on that, but still, I want better in certain situations.
Do you think the fan base, because this is the podcast cares about this too, and
will they hear this?
We do believe,
yeah, some of them listen.
That the fans have an impact on the game.
I have two brothers, and Carter's dad's an ex-cop, so for sure there's like 5 people. Your son,
okay, good,
son
yeah, Liam will listen. Yeah.
And then the fans in the building, I think they look at the standings too. And Ottawa comes to town on a Sunday afternoon, and the energy in the building, it affects the team, it affects the players, and and bringing it in that regard, like. Don't you? Would you?
Oh my God! Yes. There's no secret. I am very involved in like the game ops and the atmosphere in the arena to try to create it as best we can, because it is so important. What the fans bring every night, the atmosphere in that building, directly affects the team. Mm-hmm. It is a direct hit. And when you have a loud building, people cheering, people into it, I mean, in any situation, if we're defending a 1-goal lead or we need a goal, if that building is on its feet, rocking, it will be a positive direct hit on our players.
Right.
It is
+1 goals.
Yes, it is real. And we've got great fans. Our building has been rocking. I mean, hey, look, some nights are better than others and this and that, but, so is our team.
Right,
so,
yeah.
But it's, and I really do. I get involved in that a lot because I know how important it is. And I just, we're lucky. We do have a great atmosphere.
What do you think of the new sound system? I love it. I was down between the benches, and it's like my headphones are shaking off.
I've been down. I went down to the Zamboni entrance a couple times right after we got it, and just to hear it from that aspect, and it's just. Yeah, it doesn't pierce your ears anymore.
And you feel it, which I think is cool. You feel it.
But you know what? Also, like when you're, and if you're on suite level or up in the press box or whatever, it's just different because the music will be playing loud, but you can still kind of have a conversation.
Yeah,
it's made a huge difference.
It's great.
I'm curious. So Minnesota sports fans are like. Shelter dogs or rescue dogs. Like we've been through some stuff. It hasn't been an easy ride. So we can be skittish, right? They can like If you were in a foxhole with Minnesota sports fans, it's not ideal. They might just start taking off. And I'm not ragging on the Wild's fan base. I'm just saying there's some issues. I'm curious, being around town, everybody thinks they know hockey in Minnesota. When you're like pumping your gas someplace in Minnetonka, do people like roll by and they're like, "Hey, Billy," it's almost like the parent, the squirt parent talking to the coach. Are they like, Hartsey, we should. Yeah. Do you get interactions like that, or is everybody kind of a little maybe freaked out and doesn't come up to you?
No. I have people come up to me, and you know what? They're I don't know if they're lying to me, but they're very friendly and very, I think a lot of people like where the team is at.
Yeah.
And I think they like what's going on, and I think it's kind of like the silent treatment. If you don't hear anything, you're probably in trouble, because they might not come up and tell you that you suck.
Yeah.
Even though I'd prefer that, but
you get any hot tips? No.
I just
picture these guys.
This kid on B-Bantam over here.
No, but
here's how I handle Rossi.
Some people just they will just say like, I met this one lady one day at I think it was at Williams-Sonoma, and she was super awesome, and she was so friendly, and she's just like, oh, I just love that Kirill Kaprizov. He's so good. And that's more like what people will say. And I like that, or like, people just say like who they really love or who's playing well. And yeah, I like that. I like to have interaction with people if I'm out and about. It just, hey, it makes me feel good too. I like that connection.
Yeah, for sure. I think with Kirill, you get a lot of like my wife will be like, he's smiling all the time, and he's so cute, and he's having so much fun. I'm like, the dude's like 25 years old. He's like the top 5 player in the league. They're like, oh, he's just that Kirill, man. Is he having a blast out there, honey?
Marketer's dream, absolutely. I have a question on Kirill, because at the time I was kind of surprised by it. So Kirill gets 5 years, a big ticket, and at that point you had said like, hey, listen, I'm comfortable doing this because he's a winner. And if, to my knowledge, he didn't have like arbitration rights, didn't have a lot of this, but after 55 games, I wanted to know how you knew he was a winner, like what you saw, because, I saw a great player after 55 games, but you saw more. Like, how did you know?
Well, it's just in the interaction with him too, and the way he carries himself on the ice. You see the way that he plays. Late in games, where he literally tries to put the team on his back. He came into a new league and wasn't intimidated, didn't back down from anybody. And when you talk to him, all he talks about is winning. He doesn't talk about his goals or assists or anything like that, or points. He's never mentioned points to me, ever. It's only about the team and winning, and it's just. But I'll be totally honest. I said that was my biggest. I guess I felt my biggest risk. Yeah, because, and then in the end, it's like, well, what else are we going to do? We don't want to sign him short term. We would have loved to sign him longer, but we're going we're going in with this kid. He seems like it's going okay. Guy. It's going okay. It's going okay.
That's my point. Again, you saw that stuff, and you took risks, but you saw something. You have a trained eye. Like you knew. How did you know? Like the guy's different, and you just know. You could see it in 55 games, but it's also like, hey, could this be a flash in the pan? History has shown that there are guys that can be good during a contract year, and then not as good after.
That was a risk, but you know what? You got to take it. You got to take a risk every once in a while, and we're just saying like we had to kind of rely a lot on what we felt about his character and what kind of person he was, and he just didn't seem like the type of guy that's going to say, okay, I got this money, I'm going to chill out for a couple of years.
Right.
He's from Siberia. He loves being outdoors. He likes the simple things in life. He's not a car guy or a watch guy or fancy suits or this. He's just a plain, simple guy
that loves hockey.
That loves hockey. And that was it.
I think that's what Minnesota loves about this guy too. He just loves hockey. And to your point, smiling, like people see it, marketers dream.
Well, even the elf suit, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I want to know, I work in marketing. How does that conversation even go down? Like, hey, Kirill, so Revo's going to wear a hat, just like a Santa hat.
No,
and you're going full uni, full elf. I mean,
that was not anything to do with
no one
us.
asked him
No, that was Reaves.
That's awesome. Well, I guess if Reaves asked you to do something, what are you going to say?
I think it was more like, Kirill, you're dressing like an elf tomorrow.
Which one?
That can cross that question off the list. Hey, will you talk about Revo a little bit? Because I was at that Detroit game, and I've really never seen a game where a tough guy, or whatever you want to call him, I know he's more than a tough guy, but he completely changed the complexion of that game. He blew up the dude at center ice on a clean hit. They kind of responded, but they kind of couldn't respond. And it was almost like a Revo cloud over the whole game. It was just like a Revo game. You just check that box. I mean, what do you make? How valuable is a guy like Reaves?
I think he's really valuable. I think he proved it that night. I just think he can have an impact on the game every night. And it's not always going to be a hit like that, or, or a physical play or a fight or anything like that. His energy alone, what he brings to that room every night and to the bench, to the ice, that energy is the biggest reason that we made that move for him. And you know what? Even him coming in, in a Santa suit, bringing Kirill with him, like one of the top players in the game, like. They're doing something that they feel is right, that their teammates will like, that the fans will like, and it didn't take away from their game or anything like that. Those are the type of guys that you want around.
Yeah.
It just brings really good energy, and I thought it was awesome. And like to have Ryan Reaves, who's a role player, being able to drag Kirill Kaprizov in, who's a top 5 player in the league, and they spend time after warmups to throw out pucks and mini sticks. And, I think a lot of guys would probably think they're too cool for that. Mm-hmm. And I think these guys are so humble. They're just regular guys and they're not bigger than that. Right.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the reasons that our market loves players like that.
Well, it's kind of your character and characters thing. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of watched what that means over the last couple of years, and the team having character and an identity, but then having some of these characters, whether it's Naked Middleton in a fanny pack or Revo as Santa Claus, Kirill smiling his way through a season. I mean, you really do have both those things, character and characters.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you know what? This game's hard enough, and look at it. If it was going too far the other way, I'd have something to say, but you know what? You want these guys to be themselves too, and I guess everything kind of in moderation and in kind of just in the boundaries. And what they did
in the lane
was it was fun. It was fun for everybody, and you know what? I like that, and I think our fans can really relate to players like that.
And get here for warm up because you never know what you're going to miss. Right?
Exactly.
No kidding.
And stay till the end.
Yeah, stay till the end.
Yeah,
okay?
The end. Traffic's not that bad.
I have a couple. Actually, the longer you stay, the better the traffic is.
Exactly.
So I have a question on Reaves, too, because part of being a role play is recognition of moments and being able to know, like, when is the time to go inject energy and how to do it into your club, into the building, however that might be. Reaves seems to be a guy that understands that. And I think he recognized the stage of the Detroit game, a national broadcast people. So it's like, hey, this could be a moment, and boom, all of a sudden, what's the value in having a role guy that understands that? Because I think you can see already that it's helped polarize the group in certain situations.
Yeah, it's priceless. It really is. And you for Dino and the coaching staff, you don't have to worry,
right?
That he's not going to do his job or we have a number of guys that are very conscious of what the team needs at a specific time, and Revo being one of them, Marcus being another. Yep. That really stand out, and it's just yeah, it's a luxury.
Well, I could see where coaches would love it too, because that's one less great speech they have to conjure up. They can just trust that dude to go do it, and they're like, "Yes, I love that."
Yeah,
you know
and to be honest with you, like there have been times over the last few years where, we've started slow or had a off period or whatever, and then we've come out and had a really good one. And the old slap shot. What'd you say to him? I go down to Dino and ask him what he said. He said, I didn't say anything. He said, I grabbed Spurge or Dumbs or Marcus, and I said, you guys got to handle this. And they handle it as a group. And I think that's credit to our coaches to trust our players and the players to get it done. I think, it's a luxury to have guys that get it.
So I've one more Reaves question, and you touched on the energy that he brings, and I'm going to look at another player on the roster, in Matt Dumba, who also off the ice in the locker room has a ton of energy, and I think he provides that for the club. And I think the game was he was fighting it a little bit early on, which happens to everybody, and it's hard to have that voice in the locker room when your game isn't supporting it on the ice.
Right.
Has Reaves come in and been a personality and helped take some of that off Matt Dumba's plate and allowed him to go out and now just play hockey, and his game has gotten better?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think, for him and Marcus, I know there are other guys, but I know Marcus and Dumbs are two of the more talkative guys, but I do think Revo has helped kind of alleviate some pressure. And, especially for Dumbs, where he can just, there are times where you just need to focus on yourself.
Right.
And I think Matt's done a great job of kind of getting his game back in check. And, because sometimes you're your own worst enemy. Yeah. And you're overthinking it, and you're trying to do too much, and
trying to be a leader, focus on everybody else.
Yeah. And you know what? Some of the great leaders of the game that, some guys that I was fortunate to play with, they didn't say anything. They were so focused on their game and what they had to do to lead the team on the ice. That's really important, because in the end, that's the most important thing, is that they're performing at a high level. So I think Revo has definitely helped those guys.
Is that Scott Niedermayer? Because he was the captain in Anaheim, but he never said a word. But I don't think he had to focus on his game either, because he'd just go out and play. It seemed easy for him.
It seemed easy for him, but
he'd have like the cup of like that much surface area of sweat in the middle of his chest, and he had played incredible. 28 minutes, four straight in overtime.
Just put a suit on right after and just go home. Scott Stevens didn't say a word. I mean, a bunch of just Sid, Crosby doesn't. There's no Rudy speeches coming from him either. It's just they're focused. Malkin the same way. They're just focused on their game.
Hartsy's back, and we've been having some fun over the years with Hartman, because he can play two styles of hockey. If this is the Outsiders, he can be a Soch. He can put a sweater around his neck and roll with Zuki and Kirill and put up big points. Or he can have a knife in his pocket and be a greaser. He can be a rat. Where on that line do you think he's most effective? Is he greaser or Soch with Hartsey? Maybe you don't want to answer that. I don't know.
He's a greaser.
He's a greaser that can cross the tracks.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Even when he's in the sweater.
Oh, let's do it for Johnny.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the right assessment, because he's always got one foot on the greaser side of the tracks, like the agitation there.
He's got to have both. He's got to have both. That's when he's at his best.
He could take a gal from the other side dancing, though. He's got some soul. I mean, he's got skill.
Yeah, he's got the pony boy. He can write some poetry.
Yeah,
but
soda pop.
Yeah. Oh, geez. I mean, come on.
What a movie.
Yeah, Soda Pop
I read the book.
Is Youngblood, so it all ties together. It's a great book. Stay Gold, Pony Boy. Let me get one more. Let's do a weird one. You won Fastest Skater in 2001 with a time of 13.690. Connor McDavid had a time of 13.690 last year. What's it like to be exactly as fast a skater as Connor McDavid?
Really good. Really good.
Was it a different? Did you get a running start and he didn't? Are they the same exact race? I don't know the answer to that.
You know what? Honestly, if I had gotten a good night's sleep the night before, who knows how fast I would have gone.
I know. You got to be a pro.
Connor would be looking up at your record.
Well, you know what? just nice to be an inspiration.
Let's do one more. You had 102 PIMs somehow in one season at Boston College. What was going on there?
Wood sticks trying to break them.
No, that's a lot of, dude, that's a lot of PIMs in college. Were you working through some stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I hadn't matured yet.
That's
so.
Well, but you know what though? Back in the day, penalties and minutes weren't a bad thing. Like,
no, they're a good thing.
It's like a feather in your cap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. That was.
Were you a cage in college, or what did you wear? Helmet wise?
Started with a cage because we started with the ones that just came down.
Yeah, with the little.
But then they got rid of those, and you had to have full cage. So I went on iTech.
You were a bubble.
Yeah, I was a bubble.
So are you?
That's really kind of troubling.
Do you sweat a lot?
Bill Guerin wore a bubble.
Do I sweat a lot
when you play?
Yeah, but after I shower with Duke cannons. Yeah,
eggnog. Your seasonal favorite.
I'm right, I'm in the season.
Dude, my
it's the season. See,
my issue with the bubble was like you hit somebody, and then all of a sudden it was like almost the reverse of driving through rain.
You didn't wear a headband?
The inside would all of a sudden just be soaked, and you're like shaking your head trying to clear the water out of there. So I was a cage guy for that reason.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. It was so long ago. I remember it fogging up.
Yeah, fogging sucks too.
But I feel like we got to scrub that from your resume. There's no way Billy Bob Guerin wore a bubble. It doesn't seem right. I guess you were pressured into it.
I wore a bubble, but I didn't wear a shield. Jeez.
So I got a couple questions too. So
I'm not.
All these guys.
It's just surprising. It's just surprising.
So
did you? You had to wear a shield, right?
I wore a shield when?
You had to.
No, I didn't have to. I didn't wear one until.
You didn't wear one?
I didn't wear one until my nose was introduced to my ear.
You know who
and
did
I didn't want to sit out those games.
Can't tell.
You can't. Thank you. I didn't want to sit out those games, so then I put one on, and then it stayed on after that.
I wore one briefly or twice with 2 eye injuries, and I just kept asking the trainer, "When can I take this off? When can I take this off?"
Yeah. The other thing I didn't do that I wish I would have now, because it's starting to go away too, is no helmet and warm-ups.
How
so cool.
I just wish that I had the guts to do it all the time.
Oh my God, that was the best thing.
Yeah.
That's like American freedom.
I know.
It was like,
it's so cool.
Oh, it was awesome. That was part of playing in the NHL.
It's like the badge of honor.
No bucket and warm-ups.
I think I'd rather do no bucket and warm-ups than even play an NHL game.
So
just to be able to skate around like that.
That was great.
I think I did it a couple times, like special occasions or something, but that was it. I need to do it every time.
I got just a couple more of them.
Miss. That was a big miss.
I know, but I had terrible hair and everything. And I wasn't one of those guys that was going to do my hair before warm-ups.
Why not?
I see the curls, man. They look sharp.
Thanks.
Hey, watching other teams this year and kind of looking, each year is different. You know, when coaches will shake hands at the end of games and say, nice team, when they really see a team that's doing a lot of things right. Who's impressed you in the league this year so far with the way their style of play, their identity?
Oof. Who's impressed me?
Like you went. That's a tough out.
The Bruins. Yeah, they've been lights out. And to me, they have guys, Bergeron, Krejci, Marchand, McAvoy. They're not just good players. They get it. They know how to win. They do. And you can learn a lot from watching teams like that and players like that. They do the right thing at the right time. It's not like if they're winning and they don't have to take chances, they don't take chances. They play solid game. They win. Like you watch Bergeron go in for like face-offs, like he's an animal, and he's going to win the big face-off. Same with Krejci, and they're always in good position. They never get beat. They don't beat themselves. The Bruins have been extremely impressive.
Just total pros.
Yeah.
All the little details.
Yeah. But you know what? They go in and it's, attention to detail, business-like. They've been getting it done. They've been the best team in the league.
So I want to touch on Sam Steele for a little bit here because I think that he's done a good job in that role. And then secondarily, it's allowed everybody else to kind of fill a spot down the lineup, him being in that spot. But what has it been with his game? And you have a track record, and Dean too. We've talked about this, where you give a guy that has talent that maybe has lacked opportunity, and then all of a sudden they're showing what they can do. They play well. Sam Steele, I think, fits that mold right now. But what is it about his game that fits with those two guys?
He has a track record of producing offensively. But when we got Sam, it wasn't like you had to build his skill back up. He's got an ability to make plays. You get the puck on his stick, and we could see it early in the year. You get the puck on his stick, if he's got an extra second, he will make a play.
Yeah, flat.
He was just kind of off, just by a hair, right? But I think more than like the skill, the hockey part, or anything like that, you got to build confidence in these guys. You never know what kind of situation they're really coming from. And if you make a mistake, there are times where like you make a mistake, you feel like you're not going to go back on the ice.
Yeah, you're done. Nice.
And like, you got to build confidence in the guys to like, no, go out and make plays. You are good enough to play in that position. You know what? I told him, I said, don't worry about just getting the puck to Kirill or Zook. If you have a shot, take it. Like, you're a good player too. Like, you know what? I mean, yeah, you really like to get the puck to Kirill a lot, but make your play. You know what? And you're a good enough guy, a good enough player to be there. So be that guy. And I think he's really made the most of it. It's nice to see him confident. And, I think that's a lot of it when a guy goes to a new team is just making sure he's
providing value and believing in himself.
Yeah. And I do. You said that. I think that's important for each and every person on the team and what their role is. They need to feel valued, and they need to know that their role, whatever they do, how much ever they play, that they are important, because they actually are.
He's fast too, though. He's not like a perimeter dude. Like, he's fast.
And he's got some, he's quiet as anything, but he's got some grit to him.
Yeah.
He's not getting pushed around. So I really like where his game's gone.
The last thing I want to talk about is just development. And this is like from a GM standpoint. You've got young players, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically, like the process of development of a player, like years. And I've heard in the past that like 23-ish, 24 years old, you're kind of tapped out in your development. Like, that's what kind of player you are. Your skills are what they are. Maybe situation can help a little bit, but in terms of development, that's where you tap out. Bringing along some of these players and some of these younger guys, little steps, because you see bits and pieces of Sammy Walker, who's, he's older, he's on the back end of probably the development phase or whatever it is, but developing young guys, like, what is the process there?
Well, it can be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But, we have to be really patient with guys, and make sure, kind of like how guys understand their value on the team, we have to make sure that these guys understand what they have to do to make it to the next level. What will their role be in the NHL? And then they can really start to kind of dial in.
Fine-tune that.
Yeah. I really think, like, hey, look, we all scored when we were younger, right? And everybody comes in, I'm a top six, oh yeah, really? There's so many top six spots available up there. So this is how you're going to break into the league, kid. You're going to be on the fourth line for a little while, maybe the third line. And then, you know what? You start playing more and more and more in the NHL, and then, hey, then you move your way up the lineup. But you very seldomly get just, inserted into a top six role. But, it's kind of a tricky question, because it's just so different for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'd rather overbait guys in the minors than get them up too early. I mean, we see it with Marco. He came in, had a great camp, had an okay 15, first 15 games, but he really tailed off, and he wasn't ready. He needed to go down. He needed to go down and play, and he's still doing it. And we'll bring him up when he's ready, and not before. Not just to say that we have a first round pick that's in the lineup again. That wouldn't be fair it's not fair to us, and it's not fair to him.
Last one on development too. So Gus, I think a lot of people forget that he's like he's 24 years old and he comes to a new city, new goalie coach, and he didn't get off to a blazing start, but now he's really found his game. Has he settled in to just take time to acclimate himself to the scenario, like the work he's put in? Like, what's turned it around for him?
Yeah, again, I think confidence. You know that, you know what, if he lets a goal in, hey, that happens. It happens every game. Now, I think he's in a place now where he can just kind of brush it off and get back to his game. I think he really has a lot of confidence in the guys playing in front of him, and in turn, that makes him more confident. And I think he's in a really good spot right now.
Me too. Billy, it's always great to have you, man. Appreciate you stopping by, giving us
Absolutely.
the time, almost 40 minutes. You're the best. Kinger.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Have a great holiday. I love that. I love that the NHL takes those days off too. Are you going to do anything special for the holiday?
You know what? We're going to have some people over for Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day, we just chill out we don't get out of PJs all day. It's just awesome.
That.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think we'll have a white Christmas too. So
Seems like
I would say so.
Yeah, you won't be going on this trip, I heard, to
I'm taking my option.
the 6 a.m. arrival with 10 inches of snow in the car. You're going to skip that
Hey,
one?
you know how much shopping I have to do?
He's got ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
He can figure
exactly.
it out.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you
I
guys.
should say he's
too.
got Bally's. Jeez.
Yeah.
Bad form there. You can take some of this for gifts too. Throw them in the stocking.
Yeah, put
These
those
stocking
good stocking
Yeah,
stuffers.
those are great
absolutely.
stocking stuffers.
Liam will like some of that stuff.
Kara will love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes to smell like eggnog.
Give her the frothy beer, man. Yeah.
That's
All right.
me.
Well, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Thanks for coming by, Billy.
As always, Billy Guerin, entertaining, one of the best, gives us good stuff. What'd you think?
He's the best. I mean, I'm kind of scared of him. I don't know why.
Like your first question. At least you got it out, though. You got to be feeling better about yourself because you had the guts.
There are so many questions still. So what I was doing is anything I asked, I was highlighting red. I have so many more that I didn't ask him that I want to ask him. But no, he's awesome. I think there's a reason he's building the team the way he is. What I really love that he said, central to the podcast, is this belief that if the fan base believes, if there's positive energy from the fan base, it has a positive effect on the team on the ice.
Yeah.
Billy actually believed that it's worth one goal a night, which is amazing. But we just went through something across town, which was basically a Harvard Business Review case study on being a Minnesota sports fan, which was the Vikings game this weekend, the largest comeback in NFL history. And you, as I understand it, had an individual's tweets that you were following, and you believe this kind of shows the whole spectrum of Minnesota fandom.
Right. And to my thoughts on what Billy was saying and the way that I perceive it too, it's like if you walk into a library and you just sense the energy inside that library. Yes. Yeah. It's just like you sense the energy in that building instantly without talking to anybody, without anything. You just sense the energy. And then you can go to a different spot, even like a grocery store, right? You walk in right away, you sense like an energy, right? And it's
last
not
example,
top of mind.
If a cop's behind you in a car, you're just driving middle of the day, minding your own business, you immediately feel that, right?
Yeah.
You start to act different. You know, your head's over your shoulder. Am I going too fast?
Yeah.
There's for sure a connection between those two things.
Right. And you could even look at your buddies. You had multiple buddies growing up, and you would go to their houses and you would know the energy in each house, and they were different just based on when you walk in and what you feel. And then what came out of that experience was different too. I think that's how it is for hockey players and for fans and what fans can provide. If you can provide that energy, the players get that out of it. You know, like that's what they feel when they walk in. That's what they feel when they walk out. But that's where fans, in my humble opinion, have an obligation not to make that experience a negative one or a scary one.
And believe me,
That's hard to do.
Minnesota fans we're working through some PTSD. So let's just take a walk down Twitterville and look at sort of how this guy coped with the largest comeback in NFL history.
All right, this is this is all one individual, and this was the Vikings game.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's our boy Greg. We know Greg. This is great, and he'll be well aware of this. But this is all, again, the Vikings. This is the first tweet. Good thing about dropping this one is that we won't have to play the Packers since they won't likely get the 6th seed. That's assuming we win the division somehow, which seems less and less likely all the time.
This is first quarter for sure.
Yeah, that's the first quarter. And they continue on. Is there any imaginable reason why you might leave any of the starters in this game? Not like they're playing well. I mean, how much worse can the backups do? Let the vets rest. Then can we get a draft expert in here in the second half so there's something interesting to talk about? Like all of a sudden it goes from like winning to the division in the first quarter or losing the division to
counter programming.
Can we get a better draft pick out of this somehow? So funny. Next one. All of a sudden things start to change.
Yeah, this would be early second half.
Yeah, and this is Minnesota fans to a T.
Doesn't have any memory of everything he's tweeted before.
Nope. I wonder how all the people who left at halftime are doing.
Joke's on them.
Yeah. This game and a Monster Energy drink is not a good combination.
Hey, I'm on the ride with you.
Feeling the vibe. I take back everything I tweeted today.
Yeah. And didn't somebody interact with him at that point?
So then somebody interacts, and a fan told him, this is what we love about this individual fan, Brody Stutla, I think is how you say it, or Stulty. I told you we were going to come back despite all the refs' attempts to steal it and all the dirty plays that they overcame. If you were one of the haters and didn't stick around for it, shame on you. And then he replied, he says, the team feeds off the energy they get from fans like you, Brody. From all of us to you, thank you, and God bless. So he understood it.
Not
he felt
including
the whole
himself.
circle,
Yep.
full circle of emotions of a Minnesota fan, right?
It's
but
so
then at
great.
the end, he recognizes that, man, thank you for being a rock, a pillar.
And so the thing that I love about this, I was in a car driving home from Madison during this game, and we're a Minnesota Wild podcast, but we are all trying to get to this place called Winnesota, where we are a championship town. We walk straighter, our spines are straighter. There's a little bit, our eyes are whiter, and you know this story when Cousins and Patrick Peterson go in at halftime, and Peterson says, all we need is 5 touchdowns. And Kirk thinks he's being sarcastic, but then looks at him and he goes, all we need is 5 touchdowns. And when I was listening to it was a TV broadcast on the car radio, they were constantly playing Don't Stop Believing on repeat by Journey and US Bank. And I mean, that's really it. There's a karmic energy between fan base and team. And if we can believe, I do believe the team will believe, and it's a win is a win, man. Who cares? No such thing as an ugly W.
There was on the latest broadcast stat, and it said like quickest to 200 points because Kirill just hit 200, and it was like on the list was of active players. It was Crosby, Malkin, Ovechkin, and that might have been it. There maybe would have been one more. But then it was Kirill.
McDavid.
I don't think it was McDavid.
Okay.
So which is interesting.
I'm not a McDavid guy.
All the other guys, Stanley Cups. They've all won cups. And it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you need your star? Do you need the guy that you can build around that is different than everybody else? Is that a prerequisite to winning a cup? If the answer to that is yes, those guys on that list have cups and they've proven that they have what it takes to win. If the prerequisite is yes, the Wild have their guy. And it's Kirill Kaprizov.
And we're so happy he's here. And we're so happy you guys are on the ride with us listening to Wild on 7th. I hope you enjoyed Billy Guerin today. And we hope you all have a happy holidays as well, because we're here.
Till it's here.